Dear students, our today's lecture is devoted to the teaching, learning, and assessment and their interrelations. Features of the model, integration, and the relationships of teaching, assessment, and learning. Now we will consider the relationship between teaching, learning, and assessment, which lies at the very heart of the educational process. These three components are not isolated stages, but rather parts of a dynamic and continuous cycle that ensures effective instruction and meaningful learning outcomes. This diagram illustrates how teaching, learning, and assessment are interconnected in systematic and very tight relationship, where each element informs and enhances the others. Let's begin with the first component, teaching. Teaching represents the deliberate process of guiding, instructing, and facilitating students' acquisition of knowledge and skills. It involves planning lessons, selecting teaching strategies, and creating learning environments that support intellectual and emotional development. However, teaching is not simply about delivering content, it's about designing experiences that lead to understanding. Effective teaching begins with clear learning goals and ends with reflection on students' outcomes. Next, we will move to learning, which is the central focus of education. Learning occurs when students actively engage with materials, connect new knowledge with prior experiences, and construct understanding through interaction and reflection. It's important to remember that learning is not passive. Students do not just absorb information, they interpret, analyze, and apply it. Teaching must therefore adapt to different learning styles, abilities, and backgrounds to ensure that every student has equal opportunities to succeed. And the third element of this triad is assessment. Assessment provides evidence of learning. It helps teachers understand what students have learned, how well they understand it, and what needs to be improved. Assessment can take many forms: diagnostic, formative, and summative. Diagnostic assessment occurs before instruction to determine learners' prior knowledge. Formative assessment takes place during instruction to monitor progress and provide feedback. Summative assessment happens at the end of learning cycle to evaluate achievement against established standards. Now let's look at how these three components interact with each another. First, teaching informs learning. Through teaching, educators introduce concepts, models, thinking, and provide guidance that supports learners in achieving educational goals. Teachers use various strategies: lectures, discussions, collaborations, projects, or digital tools to engage students and promote active learning. Then learning is measured through assessment. Assessment allows both teacher and students to see whether the intended learning has actually taken place. It reveals gaps in understanding, identifies areas of strengths, and provides a foundation for feedback. Without assessment, it would be difficult to determine the effectiveness of instruction or the depth of learning. Finally, assessment improves teaching. Assessment results guide teachers in reflecting on their methods and making data-driven decisions to improve instructions. When teachers analyze student performance, they can adapt lesson plans, differentiate activities, and provide additional support where needed. In this way, assessment serves as a bridge that connects teaching and learning. It closes the feedback loop and ensures continuous improvement. What makes this relationship truly dynamic is that it's cyclical. After assessment, teachers adjust their teaching strategies, students engage in new learning experiences, and the process continues in a loop of ongoing development. This cycle promotes educational quality, consistency, and responsiveness. So the relationship between teaching, learning, and assessment is a continuous and interactive process. Here we'll consider the subject program, course plan, and of course assessment materials. Initially we create the subject program and then course plans. Then assessment material is appeared. As we know from our previous lectures, assessment material has two modules. The first one is formative assessment, the second one is summative assessment. Formative assessment is a collection of tasks for formative assessment, and summative assessment is methodological recommendations for summative assessment. They all closely connected with each other. Let's consider key skills for the 21st century. We will discuss what skills are relevant for today's learner. And the question is for you: do you think learning factual knowledge alone is sufficient in our today's globalized world? So, according to the modern scientists, the skills which are relevant in our days, in 21st century, are critical thinking, problem solving, inquiry, information handling, some practical skills, collaboration, creating and designing, independent learning. If you have any other suggestions and any other skills which were missed, you are welcome with your suggestions. So, criterion referencing. Norm referencing compares a learner's performance to the rest of the group, either locally, nationally, or even internationally. Criterion references comparing a learner's performance to learning outcome or performance standard. Criterion reference assessment is where an individual performance is compared to a specific learning outcome or performance standard and not to the performance of other learners. Thank you very much for your attention.